Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is set in the 15th century Bohemia, a time that might seem historically restrictive at first, but through Henry's story and the situations he finds himself in, the world really starts to open up. It gives you the chance to experience the setting in a much fuller and more dynamic way than you might really ever expect. As you journey through the game, one of the biggest standouts is the freedom of story choice, especially in how you handle quests, whether it's a main story beat or a side mission. You're really able to shape Henry through your decisions, your skills, and especially how you interact with the world. And sure, there's some linearity here and there, but how you build Henry and the path you can take can really change how things play out. That gradual growth based on your own decisions really is what makes the experience so personal. And with ongoing updates and mod support from more Horse Studios, I really hope we'll continue to see even more replayability and new ways to experience the game over time at least. Now getting to the meat of this game, dialogue choices are really where the freedom shines. Your decisions don't just affect one moment, they ripple into how quests play out, who you help, and what opportunities you can even unlock. Now, while the main questline can have some fixed events, there's still different ways to approach situations, and it's really in the side quests where the system can open up. Now, getting all that little beginning stuff out the way, take a quest involving a guild sword. You try and train under a Master Menhard, only to get kind of pushed around and bullied by the original guild hall, especially for swords and combat. We have Master Menhard, who's asking you to steal a sword as part of an effort to get a true proper guild hall under King Wenceslas's name going. And traditionally, you would just accept the quest, go grab the sword from the guild hall when no one's looking, place it up on the town hall to induce a duel to see who could actually get the guild hall, and return to let him know. But, depending on how you've been playing the game, you might have actually already taken the sword. Earlier, either by accident or just because you thought it looked really cool. Maybe it was worth a lot of money. Now, that kind of emergent gameplay is exactly where the quest system shines. Some missions might feel a bit standard fetch questy, but I think it's the journey and the ability to approach them your way that is what adds a layer of freedom and is really what's keeping things interesting, especially in a system where you're just grabbing something, putting it up, and then going back to tell them that you did the thing. I mean, truly and honestly, it sounds boring, but it wasn't. Now, going on to a different example, moving on from that one, I'll try and give you one more. Now, going to a small village to discuss with a brother, father, pastor, whoever you'd like to call him. Apparently, someone around the small village has found some supposed dragon bones. Kind of crazy, kind of interesting. Now, granted, you have to go to the main parish to discover what's even needing to be done about them. You're not sure, and you're not someone of the church, so you definitely couldn't say yourself. Now, going and asking, they're surprised to hear that apparently dragon bones of all things have been found, but thinking that they're cursed or unnatural and honestly could just be spreading a lot of commotion, are actually wanting to hopefully destroy it. Going back to the brother to try and let him know that, to hopefully try and secure a location for them and then get rid of them, you actually come across an alchemist who makes his way into the village. Surrounded by a group of bodyguards, he tries to press the brother upon where they are, what's their location, and anything further about them. As he's an alchemist, he's just trying to make a special brew, a special potion for his special someone, of course. Now granted, he's a bit pressy, a bit pushy, and honestly a bit of a dickhead, but that's just my opinion. And you could choose to help him, ignore him, and heck, you could even eliminate him as I did. Fact of the matter is, when trying to look for the bones in the first place, I came across a run-down castle, killed everyone inside of it just to realize the last guy, after looking at his face and outfit, was the alchemist, and I hadn't even realized who he was. Now granted, I mean that's one less loose end to have to tie up, but I didn't even realize what I had done until then. And you can play the game like that, you can do whatever you'd like. You could pass a few speech checks, get him to open up a little bit earlier, find what he wants actually, or go through a way more violent route. And even if the outcome ends in the same place, with the quest ultimately being completed, and possibly the bones being destroyed, how you get there, and like I mentioned, the journey is what's making the game feel alive. Now it all becomes cumulatively the gameplay. Character freedom is what's playing that significant role. You can design Henry however you want, whether that's through certain combat styles, a build that's more speech focused, or a mix of both. At the end, you might have all of them. But how do you want to go through it is really the question. Want to charm your way through a situation? Focus on that charisma, that speech, that deception. Prefer just brute forcing your way through most situations? Then just go with your strength and a sword or a mace. Now, there's a wide range of skills, both combat and non combat, that whether or not you actually want to use the word build will affect and ultimately become your playstyle. Now, granted, that said, not every option within their respective playstyle is going to be 100% perfectly balanced. Now, for example, within the longsword category, we get Radzik Kobola sword at some point in the game. I'll say spoiler alert, but I hope I've already given it and it already still stands. But once it's upgraded to Masterwork via blacksmithing, it honestly outperforms most of the other swords in that exact same tier. It unlocks Masterwork, so that's the thing, like it's already better than most any sword you most likely get across the whole game. And unless you either find another Masterwork weapon or mod your game to have a different weapon entirely, you might feel honestly limited to the quote unquote best option, which ultimately might restrict your build a little bit, but hopefully not too much more. And while we're on the topic of just general balance and making sure the game is as good as it can be, I'll acknowledge some of the flaws. Cross weapon balance is another thing entirely. Swords honestly tend to dominate in terms of utility and in terms of combat overall, not just in damage, but also the features that they have within the game. They can access Master Strikes, which maces and some other weapons honestly can't. They used to in the first game, but ultimately, historically speaking, they never were intended for that. And in this game, that shows. And that can honestly make a huge difference, especially with dealing with armored enemies. Maces might technically do more damage to armor, but the extra versatility in such a system of swords often makes them the better pick because they could never attack you if you just hit them back with a Master Strike. You end up redirecting the attack. And so while you can use other weapons, to be honest, the system does tend to nudge you towards swords as the more optimal, or at least the more quote-unquote fun choice. Now, after speaking so much about being optimal, with past updates including hardcore mode and hopefully future ones going on along the way, weaknesses in hardcore mode have become so much more noticeable. And this forces you to play more thoughtfully, especially in conjunction with your strengths being kind of dumbed down in a way. This opens the door to so many new strategies and makes underused skills a bit more viable in my opinion. Including mods into the mix should also shift the meta down the line, with adjusting stats, tweaking skills, and even overhauling abilities to give players more reason to experiment. And that's the thing, it's not like a roguelike where every time you die you have to switch a loadout, but the depth is increased, and with combos and various weapon skills, hopefully that combat system and other systems just get further and further deeper. Now, talking about combat, fighting multiple opponents is a bit of a slog. You just keep dying and you don't know from where. And just like in the first game, I think truly it is part of that commitment to realism. In real life, you can't just swing wildly and win. You've got to think, time your moves, and commit to a style that really works for you. And while granted, I'll admit some might say that that hurts the pacing a bit, especially in character freedom, I do think that within the tone of the world and its quote-unquote realism like RDR2, it adds a bit of creative problem solving into the element that fits the tone of the world and doesn't press the player too much into a corner where nothing different could be done. Now, granted, I'm still genuinely excited for what the future holds for this game. Mods, new systems, and deeper gameplay through updates, DLCs, and hopefully a variety more ways could really help to make every single playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 feel different. Hardcore mode already adds a lot by giving you real weaknesses to work around, and as mods continue to develop, I think we'll see even more unique takes on Henry's story from here on out. And with that, I truly want to wrap it there. I mean, freedom of choice is central to the whole experience. From how you explore the world and interact with characters to how you build your skills and tackle quests. I mean, you can max out all your stats if you want, you'll eventually do so. But that doesn't mean your journey has to look the same every time. With the right systems and tools in place, each playthrough can feel like a brand new adventure. And honestly, I think that's what makes Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 so special. You might not need to do every single quest on one playthrough, but maybe you do, and that's perfectly fine. You might want to just work through certain towns on certain playthroughs because that's you. Go for it. I mean, that's the game. Do what you want. But anyways, that's really all I've got. Don't get taken over by AIs. I'll catch you next time.